brother, let me tell you what they're gonna see. Let me tell you what they're gonna see. What they're gonna see, Michael Perry.
Saturday, Mike Perry versus Jake Paul going down, and the betting lines are absurd at mybookie.ag. If you want to know what bets to place, you're probably going to want to watch this video. You guys know there's a UFC event going on this weekend, UFC Vegas 94, Lemos versus Jandiroba.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Well, don't worry, because there's another event that's happening, and it's Jake Paul versus Mike Perry. A lot of people are sick of Jake Paul. They're like, I want to see this guy get knocked out. Enough is enough. He's going to fight Mike Tyson. Well, no, not this weekend. He's going to be fighting Mike Perry, the appetizer to Mike Tyson. We put a poll up on our community section on YouTube. UFC Vegas 94, Paul versus Perry. I'm watching neither. I'm watching both. We asked you guys, which will you be watching? And 10% say they're watching UFC Vegas 94. Now, keep in mind, this is an MMA channel. This channel predominantly covers the UFC. Yet, 48% are saying they're going to watch Paul versus Perry. 28% is not even watching anything on Saturday night.
This is number one bullshit.
I don't know if I believe that. And 14% say they're watching both. So 60+% are actually going to be watching Paul versus Perry, a novelty fight. And I got to be honest with you, I'm interested in this. A bunch of promotion has been put out online, and I've been gobbling it up. I'm going to play some here on this video, and we're going to laugh at it. And then I'm going to tell you about these absurd odds that have dropped on my bookie.
Your little baby green punches can't even fucking reach my brainstem, bro. I'm gonna dig through your eyeball and find your memories.
Please don't do that.
Please don't do that.
Oh, brother, let me tell you what they're gonna see. Let me tell you what they're gonna see. What they're gonna see, Michael Perry. You listen to me, brother. You're going down, flat into the ground. When I get my hands on you Saturday night, I'm gonna eat you in one bite.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes, sir, Michael Perry.
He's rhyming, but you ain't got the timing.
You ain't
got
scary,
the
Michael
speed that you
Perry.
need.
All you are
All
is
you
hairy.
got is greed. And
You
you're
don't
gonna
want
bleed.
this? I'm gonna take a piss all on your grave. You ain't brave.
You're killing me.
Listen to me, brother. I'll show you who the American badass is. Thought it was your brothers, the USA champion. Oh yeah, that's right.
One of the posters for the DAZN event, and I'm interested. I don't care about the co-main event or anything else on this card. It means nothing to me, but Mike Perry versus Jake Paul is interesting. Way more interesting than this. Now, we'll be reacting to this entire card on Saturday night. Go on over to MMA-Holes.tv and get your picks in for free. And we'll be challenging you on our Goat Milk Pick'em League. Once that is done, we're going to move on to Mike Perry versus Jake Paul.
Happy National Hot Dog Day. My favorite food, America's pastime. One of the greatest inventions in the world. Happy National Hot Dog Day. I have to lose 10 pounds still, but after the fight, I will be Glizzy Goblin.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Here's Mike Perry on Mighty Mouse's YouTube channel.
Now let's talk about that sparring match between you and Jake Paul.
That was my wife who took that video. They were like, hey, you gotta delete that. And she was like, okay, and didn't. So then I posted that later. He never posted anything but me. I saw that camera. I planted this seed, bro. I'm telling you, I planted this.
He kind of did plant this seed. I mean, he was sparring behind the scenes with Jake Paul. He knew that Jake Paul was doing big things, trying to help him out for fights, but kind of getting a feel of what Jake Paul brings to the table. And fast forward, this Saturday, they're fighting.
I saw the camera, and I looked at Jake breathing all hard and heavy, and I was like, hey, man, good job, bro. You kicked my ass. Good job, dude. Kicked my ass.
No, it's good, bro. Good work.
He hit
Good job, you kicked my ass.
me as hard as he could. Twice. With the right hand. Hard as he could. All his people on the outside. Ooh! But I took that hit and I just smiled. I smiled. He learned a few things about fighting that day. He didn't teach me
Now, one of the greatest lines that Mike Perry has ever said.
You know, the thing about retarded people is they don't know that they're retarded.
Dude looks good. Okay, so now let's look at the matchup here between the two. Jake Paul, Mike Perry. Jake Paul is 9-1 as a professional boxer, and Mike Perry is technically 0-1 as a professional boxer. Jake Paul is 27 years of age, as Mike Perry is coming in at 32 years of age. Jake Paul's last fight was 199, and then Mike Perry's last fight was 167. 6'1" is Jake Paul. 5'10" is Mike Perry's. When you have the 76-inch reach versus the 71-inch reach, it's kind of funny if you look at the Tapology predictions. Well, they have Jake Paul only up by 54% over the 46% Perry, which makes you wonder why the odds are so lopsided. And that's why I take you to mybookie.ag. Now, if you're not a gambler, it's fine. You can just watch this and see where the odds makers are putting this. It makes the fight a little bit more interesting. Jake Paul just straight up to beat Mike Perry, a minus 481, as Mike Perry is coming in at a plus 310. Now, I understand Jake Paul is the bigger guy. He's been fighting boxers and former MMA fighters, Anderson Silva. I mean, he's looked very, very good as a professional boxer. You can't deny the fact that he is not just an influencer anymore. This dude can punch. Whereas Mike Perry, former UFC fighter, and then found superstardom in bare knuckle. Boxing, but without the gloves. Very different than traditional boxing. They have this fight as a draw at a plus 1,150. You always have to entertain that when it comes to boxing, right? This card has 9 bouts on it on Saturday night, and it's a 8-round fight. Even numbers. Very well could be a draw. It's not 10, it's not 12 rounds. 8-round fight, 3 minutes a round, even number. A draw is easily on the table for this match. So keep an eye out for that if you're feeling like gambling a little bit. At plus 1,150 is the draw. So to make it a little bit more understandable for those that don't bet, if you want to bet the draw at $10, you win $115. Okay, here's where it gets interesting. Some prop stuff. Jake Paul by knockout is a minus 128. Now, you're not getting plus money on that, almost even money. But, you know, Jake Paul has been knocking out a lot of his opponents. Whereas Mike Perry by knockout is a plus 490. Mike Perry did knock out Luke Rockhold. Well, took his teeth out of his head, and Luke Rockhold quit. But those were without gloves. But he does have punching power. Now, at his size versus Jake Paul, is he going to knock out Jake? Most likely not. So Mike Perry by knockout at a plus 490, I kind of get, because I just don't think that's going to happen. Is it impossible? Nothing's impossible in combat sports. Which strange is here is they have draw plus 1,075, and then they have draw 1,150. I don't know what the hell that means, but still, you're getting a plus 1,000. I guess if you're going to go for the draw, go for the draw up top over here. Not sure what that's about. Jake Paul by decision is a plus 218. Now, that is not a terrible bet. Why? Because Mike Perry doesn't get knocked out. We're going to show Mike's history and Jake's history and lead into what makes the most sense, what's the safest bet. Stay tuned for that. Jake Paul by decision is a plus 218. Now we're going to look at the resume of Jake Paul and the resume of Mike Perry so you can see which bet makes the most sense and is the safest to place. But Jake Paul by a decision is very interesting at a plus number at 218. Mike Perry by a decision plus 1,375. That number is insane. Boxing decision, very likely happening. Mike Perry, you put $10 on that bet, you get $137.50. Another bet that stood out is, will the fight go the distance Yes is a plus 142. So you're getting plus money for if this fight goes the distance. No matter whose hand is raised, if it goes the distance, plus 142. Here's Jake Paul, 9-1-0. You scroll through. Last he fought was Ryan Berland.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Well, a can to be crushed, right? And he knocked him out in the first round. It was embarrassing. Andre August.
Who the fuck is that guy?
A can to be crushed. Knocked him out in the first round. Nate Diaz. He beat Nate by a unanimous decision in that fight. Now, let me refresh my memory. That fight was how many rounds? It was 10. So that was a 10-round fight, and Jake Paul won by a decision. So when you fight a guy, former MMA fighter, not really a boxer. I mean, he has a boxing background in Nate, not a traditional boxer, and he went the distance with him. That was 10 rounds. Nate can take a punch. Mike Perry can take a punch. Tommy Fury was the first loss on his resume, and that was a split decision. The jury's still out with Tommy. He's a big guy. He's got the bloodline of warriors. Tyson Fury.
Yadasa, ya sausage.
Anderson Silva, unanimous decision win, which shocked the hell out of me, to be honest. Tyron Woodley knocked him out in the rematch. Let's see what else. Tyron, the first one was a split decision win, a lot closer. Ben Askren knocked him out in the first round. Wrestler. Nate Robinson, basketball player, influencer. You know how that works. So he does have a bunch of knockouts here in the beginning. A way different fighter here compared to Ryan Borland, but Ryan Borland, nothing spectacular. Mike Perry, 14-8-0, coming out of a pretty long winning streak, right? Granted, a lot of it is in bare knuckle, which is a completely different thing. Thiago Alves, a guy that is tough as nails, now a little bit longer in the tooth, but still, the fact that Mike just buzzsawed through him under a minute in the first round is pretty impressive. He smashed Eddie Alvarez, stopped him. Now, these guys aren't massive human beings. Like, they're not as tall as a guy like Jake Paul. But still, Eddie Alvarez is a beast, and Thiago Alves is a beast as well. Luke Rockhold, former UFC champion. Also, Eddie Alvarez was a UFC champion. But Luke Rockhold, a former UFC champion and a big human being, he made him quit in the second round, knocking his teeth out of his head. So Rockhold, 6'3", bigger than Jake Paul with a 77-inch reach. Very impressive win by Mike Perry. Now, is Luke Rockhold a traditional boxer? No, he's got a lot of tools in the belt. He can grapple. He throws crazy kicks. He did fight him in a bare knuckle boxing fight, and it is a little bit different, but still, finishing him is very impressive. Another very impressive fight is Michael Venom Page. He took this fight in London. The bigger Michael Venom Page, who's a very dangerous human being. We saw him in the UFC. It's going so-so in the UFC, but regardless, a very dangerous striker in Michael Venom Page. And he took the fight and won. Shocked the hell out of me. This was a 6-round fight. It went a bonus round because it was very close. But Michael Venom Page, a 6'3", 79-inch reach fighter, and Perry beat him. Guys, to say that Mike Perry can win this fight, you're not saying something crazy. But to go on over to my bookie and say, will this fight go the distance and get plus money? Well, that is kind of crazy because I honestly think that should be negative money. They're giving you money here. Also, Mike Perry winning this thing by decision, a plus 1,375. It's an absurd number. Is it impossible for Jake Paul to get the win? No. I mean, Jake Paul is the favorite for a reason, should win this fight, but Mike Perry getting his hand raised by decision is not an impossibility, and getting it with this number at a plus 1,375 is nuts. When was the last time Mike Perry has been knocked out? He lost to Daniel Rodriguez, unanimous decision. Tim Means, unanimous decision. These were in the UFC. Jeff Neal, he got knocked out by a head kick and punches. Way different when you're getting hit upside the head with a baseball bat. He lost to an armbar against Cowboy Cerrone. The Vicente Luque fight is the fight where his nose got rearranged and still stayed in front of him, getting hit by a truck the whole time and still kept coming forward with those 4-ounce gloves. Max Griffin, Santiago Ponzinibbio, unanimous decision losses, and these were back in 2018, 2017. He lost to Alan Joban by unanimous decision in 2016. We keep scrolling through. Overhand right, Kenneth McNeil, 2015. So my man has not been finished with the hands in many years. Now, is it impossible for the Jake to knock him out? No, it's not impossible. Like I said before, in combat sports, anything can happen. But on Saturday night, in an 8-round boxing match, Mike Perry winning by a decision is not an impossibility. It could be done. Jake Paul and Mike Perry go the distance no matter who wins, and you get plus money for that. That's a very big possibility. I don't think anyone's going to get knocked out in this fight. I think this fight's going to go the distance. So you either roll the dice on Mike Perry and say, hey, he's going to win this by a decision, or you could play it safe and say it goes the distance, because Jake Paul will not knock out Mike Perry in this fight. This will be a fun fight to watch as a fan, but this will go all 8 rounds, friends. And ladies and gentlemen, it will be a war. And we got some great bets that you can put on MyBookie. So use promo code MMA-HOLES. Do it responsibly, and good luck. I hope you guys win big. Where's your money going? Is it Jake Paul or is it Mike Perry? Let me know in the comments section, and I'll see you Saturday night live on this channel, the MMA-Holes.
MyBookie.ag, MyBookie.ag, MyBookie.ag. Place your bets, win big at MyBookie.ag. Use promo code MMA-Holes at MyBookie.ag. Win big at MyBookie.ag. Tell them the MMA-Holes sent you.